Hey guys, it's Pastor Yummy with Life 360 Weston, and today is a special day, December 24th, 2025, one of my most favorite days of the year, and maybe yours too. So we are continuing in the book of Revelation. We're on Revelation 20. So grab your Bibles, maybe that second cup of coffee, and join in with me. Dear God, be with us today. Open our eyes to these truths you have for us today in your holy word. So, my friends, here we are at Revelation chapter 20, and it begins like this. Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding the key of the abyss and a great chain in his hand. So he sees this angel now coming down, just an angel. We don't know who this is. Some people say that it's Michael, that it would have to be Michael the archangel because what he's about to do, but it doesn't say that. It's just some angel that was given this job. He's holding the key of the abyss and a great chain in his hand. I mean, I guess this had to be a great chain. Verse 2, and he laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old. So they're going to go through all of this again, all of these names again, excuse me. So, and he laid hold. I mean, this angel, God just said, okay, yeah, go, take him out. And what did he do? He laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he threw him into the abyss and shut it and sealed it over him so that he would not deceive the nations any longer. And here's the bad news, until the 1,000 years were completed. After these things, he must be released for a short time. So what do we see here? One thing I'm noticing is that God just has this angel put Satan away, because remember, we just saw how Jesus defeated him with the sword in his mouth, which, you know, my interpretation is that it probably would be his very word that just was spoken, and Satan was, crippled. So now he just has some angel get him, lock him up in the abyss. So you may be thinking, why would you just not leave him there? Now it says he threw him in there, and he was alive. And it doesn't say he threw him in there and then that destroyed him. It's like, no, he's in there, and he's, I guess, very much alive. I don't know how we would define alive for an angel, because that is different. Angels are different, than humans. But, yeah. So you may be thinking, why could you just not leave him there, Lord? Why does he have to come out? So we're going to talk about that, later on as we dive a little deeper into this chapter. But I just think it's interesting that, it doesn't even say that God himself or Jesus had to take him and tie him up and win this battle. It's like, compared to God, Satan is just, just a little peon, just nothing. It's like some people think that, oh, God is here and Satan is over here, and they're battling, good versus evil. No, it's like God is here, Satan is way down there. It's just no contest, So anyway, so I think that is very good for us to see how that is worded, that just some angel just locked him up because God commanded it. There is the that's the the main thing to take away from that. So let's see what is going to happen. So he's in the abyss. So that he would not deceive the nations any longer until the 1,000 years were completed. So what is this 1,000 years? Well, let's talk about this. So verse 4, Then I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was given to them. And I saw the souls. So wait a minute, you might be thinking, okay, wait, thrones, who's going to be doing this judging? Well, it seems like it is the saints, the church, because remember, it says that the ones who are raptured with them and came back with them to rule and reign with Christ. Yeah, so that is very much a possibility there. So then it says, and I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their testimony of Jesus and because of the word of God. Now, this word beheaded, if you look that up, in the Greek, it sort of encompasses more than just beheaded. It's like they were put to death, and mainly by beheading, but it also really just encompasses, people who were martyred at that time for their faith, because of their testimony of Jesus and because of the word. And those who had not worshiped the beast or his image and had not received the mark on their forehead and or on their hand, and they came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. So this is amazing. So now he's talking about the also who are included is the tribulation saints, the ones that were martyred, and they came back to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. So exciting, because remember, they had not received their glorified body. So this is when they are coming back to life now with their glorified body and going to rule and reign with Christ. And it seems like that also, because of what I just said earlier, that is going to include the other saints, that those of us who have already, were already raptured, or not just raptured. Well, the ones that had either the dead in Christ will rise first, then everybody else. So that's probably including all the ones who had already received their glorified bodies, is what I was looking to say. So let me continue here. Okay, reigning with him for 1,000 years. So, sometimes you've probably heard this millennial reign. So that's what we're talking about, the millennial reign. And that is when Jesus comes back, like after he, came back to earth. He had defeated Satan at this battle. And if you can picture this, I don't think I was able to fit this in last time. But so Satan was battling like the Antichrist, with all this big army is going to take on Jesus. Well, they are, at the time, we think from other prophecies in the Old Testament, we think that this is the time that they're surrounding Jerusalem, and they want to take Jerusalem out, and they want to take God out. Satan has always wanted to be God, and he's, I guess, deceived himself thinking that, he could do it. So, yes, but of course he cannot. So, I just wanted to throw that in. Last time I didn't get a chance to mention that. And we can pull up the verses, when we meet this weekend, because there's some exciting verses that I don't have time to get into now from the Old Testament that really prophesy about this. So we imagine that this is, some people call it the Battle of Armageddon. This is where at the valley, I think it's called of Megiddo, that these troops, from all different nations and kings are going to fight with the Antichrist surrounding Jerusalem. And then Jesus is going to come back, and, they're thinking they're going to take on Jerusalem. They're going to, the believers who are in Jerusalem at the time, the redeemed nation of Israel, the Israel, just during this tribulation, that's so many that says all Israel will be saved. And that's what they're talking about, that during the tribulation, that all of the Jewish people we think, all, I can't say totally what that encompasses. Hopefully all means all, that all of the Jewish believers at the time are going to see that Jesus was their Messiah, and they missed it, but they're not going to miss it this time. And so anyway, so the Antichrist, they're surrounding, they were surrounding Jerusalem to take them out and to destroy their God. So Satan could be God. Well, of course, that did not happen. Now Jesus is here, and we're going to be talking about this 1,000-year reign of Jesus. So I'm going to right here. Okay, so continuing here with verse 5, it says, and the rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were completed. So when it says the rest of the dead, I believe that's talking about the unsaved dead. There's some people who just rejected Christ, and they did not participate in this first resurrection. They did not come. They're going to come back to, we're going to see them come back to life to be judged, but they did not come back to life until after this 1,000-year reign. So, okay, until after the 1,000 years were completed. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is the one who has a part in the first resurrection. Over these, the second death has no power. So we're going to see what that looks like in just a minute. But they will be priests of God and of Christ, and will reign with him for 1,000 years. So that's why we think that, when I said that it is not just the souls, the people that were resurrected, excuse me, the tribulation saints, it's not just those. This is another reason why we think it is the entire church, at the time, the ones who were resurrected before, because it says that they will be priests of God and of Christ, will reign with him for 1,000 years. So that was everyone who participated in the first resurrection, not the one for the people who rejected Christ. So let's go to verse 7 here. When the 1,000 years are completed, so think of this, when the 1,000 years are completed, Satan will be released from his prison. Why? You may be thinking, why? Just leave him locked in there. It says, and will come out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the war. The number of them is like the sands of the seashore. So let's break a little bit of that down. So Satan will be released from his prison. Well, it says why he's going to be released, to come out to deceive the nations. So for a little while. So now remember, during this 1,000-year reign, it's like the earth is going to be restored to almost to what it was like in the pre-fall, when Adam and Eve were originally on the earth. I mean, healing is going to be there. It's like there's a lot of information in, especially in the book of Isaiah and a few other parts of the Old Testament. There's prophecies about this millennial reign, and it talks about I want to say the lion laying down with the lamb, but it's the fox laying down with the lamb. And says that, even the animals are going to be restored. Like the carnivores are going to turn into, are going to be eating hay and grass like the ox. Possibly people will be return and be maybe vegetarians and not eat meat anymore, because things are going to be so restored. And if it is like that, I mean, we will be so excited about the vegetation, the fruit that may be similar to dogs barking. What is this? Maybe similar to how it was in the Garden of Eden. Just amazing, amazing food. So, and it says that if somebody dies, like, and they're 100 years old, it'll be like an infant death. You know, our bodies, everything is going to be restored to, like to how it was pre-flood. So it's going to be an amazing time to be alive. Now, okay, let me explain this, because a lot of, okay, but there's so many directions I can go right now. It's so exciting. But it says that he comes out to deceive people, so that these people who were raised in this almost utopian society with Jesus ruling and reigning and just an amazing world, they never really, their faith was never tested. So some of these, especially these people who were born during this time, their faith is never tested because it's like this perfect world. So Jesus is going to allow Satan to come out and test these people's, so-called faith. And some of them really have faith, but, some of them really don't. Some of them just are going to just fall to their sin nature, because during this time there is still a sin nature. People still battle over sin nature. What they don't have to worry about is Satan and being tempted by Satan. They just have to worry about overcoming their own sin nature. Sorry about that. I should pause it, but bear with me. So it says the number of them is like the sand of the seashore. So during this time, you're thinking, who is going to repopulate the earth? Well, that's a good question, because it's not going to be us. We are going to be in our glorified bodies. We are not going to be married. I know that can be upsetting to some people, but believe me, you are going to be so fulfilled in your glorified bodies, you will not need marriage. You will not need marriage. And you will be just, the saints with this glorified body. It's going to be incredible. That's where you want to be. But there's some people that are going to be alive that have made it through the 7 years of tribulation. There's going to be some saints, some tribulation saints who have not died. And there's also going to be some people who have not taken the mark of the beast. And, maybe they've just hid out somewhere in a bunker. They're not saved, but they have managed to survive for these 7 years without taking the mark. So we have these people, they're going to be in the millennial reign, and they're going to repopulate the earth. Now, in this world, it's going to be easy to be fruitful and multiply. Death is going to it's going to be very rare. So in 1,000 years, the amount of people that can be on this earth, I think it's going to be, if you think about it, there's no war, there's no diseases. And yeah, we could just calculate that using talking about an exponential growth. It is going to be incredible. Maybe that's why they're saying here the number of them is like the sands of the seashore. That's so many people. So many people. So many people are going to be are going to be produced, during this millennial reign. It's going to be incredible. Now, this is talking about after Satan is released. I'm going to start reading in verse 9, because when Satan is released, he talks people into being in cahoots with him and fighting against the Lord. How he does that, again, I have no idea how he's going to appeal to these people who were but he appealed to Adam and Eve, and I think some people think, well, Adam and Eve, they sinned, they were terrible, they should have resisted Satan, they should have said no. Well, this is saying that, okay, it's like, here's another chance that all these people are going to live in this almost perfect world, just like the Garden of Eden, but they're still going to be, when Satan is released and tempts them, they're going to fall, just like Adam and Eve fell. So let me start reading from verse 9. And they came up on the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints in the beloved city. So this is what happens. After Satan is released, he talks these people into forming this huge army to come against God. And huge, like they're saying here, like the sands of the seashore. I mean, a huge number of people that are going to participate. But what happens? Fire came down from heaven and devoured them. Boom. It's like, I don't know which is shorter, this battle when Christ, came down, that we talked about in the last chapter, or this one. It's like there's no battle. It's they came to fight against the Lamb, and boom, they're gone. They're gone. Fire came down and devoured them, and the devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are also, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. So they're still there, and they're eternal beings. I believe that we're all eternal beings, like God made the angels to be eternal beings, like He made us. And so because they're eternal, they're gonna be there like forever, So let's go now to verse 11. We're going to talk about, this judgment. Then I saw a great white throne, and him who sat upon it, from whose presence the earth and heaven fled away, and no place was found for them. So a great white throne. And that's, people refer to this, you may have heard of the term, the great white, judgment. The great white throne judgment. This is what they're talking about. So verse 12, and I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged from the things which were written in the books, according to their deeds. So these people are coming back to life. This is the second resurrection. It says, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead which were in them, and they were judged, every one of them according to their deeds. So these are the people who were not saved, the people who were in hell, and they're now standing before the throne, the great white throne, and they're going to be judged because they were not redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, and they're guilty, and they're going to be judged according to their deeds, because that's what they wanted. They did not want the redemption that comes through Jesus. They said, no, I'm good. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Well, they're finding out, no, they were not. So then it says, then verse 14. So after they were judged according to their deeds, it says, then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. If anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. So this is so tragic, such difficult news, to comprehend. And we can't even comprehend. Cannot even comprehend what this such a tragedy, and we try to tell people now, it's like we evangelize, we try to tell people about Jesus, and it's like we want to go, and it's like the house is on fire, their house that they're living in is on fire, and we want to pull them out of the fire and say, no, come with me, don't go through this. And some people's hearts, they're hardened, they're not listening. So Lord, just let that not be the case for anyone listening to this video. Let this not be the case. So we're talking about, this is the second death, the lake of fire. If anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. And that is forever and ever. So I hate to leave this chapter, here. I hate that it ends this way, but that is the bad news, guys. There's exciting things that happen in this chapter that you know, can you imagine that when these people were lining up against God, boom, they just, you know, that they weren't going to last. And what else did we see in this chapter about the resurrected saints ruling and reigning with Jesus during this time? I mean, it's, yeah, I don't even think we can comprehend how amazing that's going to be. But what I have to grapple with is like, okay, what kind of people are going to be on the earth? You know, we're going to have these different groups of people, and I put it into three groups. Some people say four. I'm going to say three groups, and I'll tell you why. That will be here during the millennial reign. I think it is the let's see. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow because I just got this thing. My battery's dying. So anyway, guys, I'm going to be back with you tomorrow on Christmas. So Merry Christmas Eve to you, and I will see you tomorrow on Christmas.